I think, particularly for this region, Middle East, I think it's really, really important because executive leaders here, they are challenged enormously, and they are expected to lead with purpose and to be agile, innovative, and all that together with a greater speed. So this is my take on it. The region handled the pandemic somewhat differently, I would say. And it could be because of its experience with H1N1 and SARS, which the region was more affected by than Europe. But the actions of controlling the virus came very quickly. But it was also accompanied with persistent work towards Vision 2030. As an example, I would say UAE and Saudi, they continued to plan and develop alternative revenue streams towards their ambition of becoming more carbon independent. So pushing fourth industrial revolution, lots of initiatives on ease of doing business, health sector, and so forth. And as a result, you can see that Expo 2020 was delivered with a glorious success. And similarly, I would say Egypt was also pushing forward its infrastructure development. And surprisingly for many, it will soon be hosting COP27. So with that, I have a feeling that the pandemic has developed sort of a stronger regional cooperation, which now sort of more clearly includes Qatar and Israel. And this, together with sort of a very young population, it gives a feel of a region that is in cooperation, it's forward-looking, and extremely fast-moving. And that puts an enormous demand on leaders in this region. And I would say when I was interviewing executives in the region recently for a big study, I would say that the Egyptian staff, for instance, they were very keen to get back to their offices. And in the UAE and Saudi, the confidence of going back into work came much quicker. So I think those are the things that I really see. As this speed is coming in, the governments are also expecting corporations to be innovative in its developments in line with Vision 2030. They're expecting participation in the country's development. So these requirements, together with the internal requirements of managing hybrid organizations, digital transformation, adjusting to new market requirements and new conditions, and as well as addressing its own corporate sustainability requirements, the list becomes quite long. And this, it requires leaders that drive and lead with a larger extent of purpose and being flexible and able to stimulate these fast changes in order to attract the right staff. And talent acquisition in this part of the world is very, very important. It's a very young workforce, sometimes choosy. They put their own career development in focus, much more than stable jobs for life. It is more on their own career development, their progression, their trajectory into leadership themselves. And that means that they are requesting to work with companies that has that right composition, the right purpose in their businesses. To succeed as leaders, or leaders need to continue to work on their skill set. and their personal toolbox. But I think also is that they're not pushed out of their comfort zone. They need to communicate with intent to provide that purpose, authenticity, engagement, and to be able to embrace innovation and set inspiring goals for people. Not to greenwash sort of its commitment on sustainability. It really needs to show, they really need to show ethics and responsible management. This so that the region's, young dynamic workforce can understand the leader's personal engagement and see him as a role model, he or she, of course. I joined TPC Leadership fairly recently, and I'm a member of TPC's Middle East Advisory Board. And I'm very excited about it because I feel the company can offer something very special. It has comprehensive services, but also it has a very pragmatic and flexible way of tailoring to maximum benefits. I don't believe that companies can have the money for long or costly transformation programs now. It needs to do quick injections into the change process. And I feel that TPC Leadership is very uniquely placed with a very solid experience, with an ability to quickly assess situation, teams, and suggest actions for tangible outcomes. Personally, also gone through the trainings in TPC Leadership Academy. And what struck me was the genuine care for the participants' personal development and building new relationships. And it actually affected also my ways of working. I saw how very small changes in my ways of working could provide really large impacts. I think that leaders need to recognize that the situation has changed and the requirements on them has changed. And to lead with purpose, authenticity is much more important now than it's ever been. And I think leaders that will succeed today are the ones that continuously work with their personal development and work with their own value setting in this world where staff is expecting so much more than just leaders. They want to know that the company and the vision of the company meets the same values as themselves.